Good morning. Welcome back to Coffee with the Callers. I'm Father James along with
Father Jesse.
And here we are, Padre. We are now cleanly through the Christmas season, back into time ordinary.
That's right. Everyone's back in session. School's started. The staff is back, and we're ready and excited for all the ministries and opportunities we have this year. So
yeah, I'm engaged in one of my Christmas gifts today.
That's a nice gift. I saw that.
Someone bestowed this Yeti coffee mug upon me for Christmas, and I'm quite happy with it, I have to say. It's got a good weight to it.
You seem very proud.
I'm very pleased with it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to enjoy this during our Coffee with the Callers.
Okay, good.
So we're going to talk to you all today about peacemaking. One of the most important components of our Christian ministry is to be people of peace, people who make peace.
It's part of one of the Beatitudes, right?
Exactly. So, Padre, if I were to walk up to you and say, Father Jesse, I'm struggling with arguing with people and I'm not getting along with people, but I want to be a person of peace. Give me some spiritual nuggets to go with on becoming a peacemaker in my life. What would you tell me?
I would say that it takes enthusiasm and courage. And the reason for that is there's a story that reminds me of St. Francis of Assisi. You've been to the Holy Land a lot of times. St. Francis goes into the Holy Land and meets the Sultan. And, you know, there's great war and the Crusades going on, but he goes right in the midst of that. And he meets the Sultan, the great enemy of Christianity at the time. And so the Sultan was so impressed with his enthusiasm and his courage that he really gives of himself and brings the gospel, brings Jesus Christ to the situation. And I think a lot of times that's kind of our responsibility is to bring the joy of the gospel, to bring that, to take the courage to say, maybe I was wrong in that conflict or that argument, and to say, you know what, I'm sorry. It takes courage and enthusiasm to do that. So that's kind of the things that I think about when I think about being a peacemaker.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, when we get into heated arguments, corporate sort of literature always talks about how to have tough conversations in the corporate world.
Right.
Like if you're a boss and you have employees that are working for you, it does take courage to be honest, for one. But I think that there's no mistaking sincerity. Mm-hmm. When someone is a sincere person, there's no mistaking that. And even when there's a conflict, even when there's difficult conversations that need to take place, you can't overvalue sincerity in that conversation. So I think that's an awesome point that you bring up. You know, G.K. Chesterton, he was the famous Englishman, very pithy in his commentary about life. He said the reason why people quarrel so much is because they don't know how to argue. So maybe when you think about arguing with somebody, it's not so much about getting your way, but it's much more about being sincere. And sincere people are always very brave people. They're not afraid to talk about tough things, and they admit when something is tough. You know, it's so interesting. I just got back from pilgrimage with the choir, and we were over in Barcelona, and then we went up to Lourdes, France, and then we went down to Lisbon, Portugal, to go to Fatima. And our tour guide was not a Catholic person, and so as she was giving us our tour of Lisbon, we were driving through the old town, and there was a town square, and she said, "Oh, this is where the Inquisition took place, and this is where the Catholic Church put Jewish people to death in the 1500s. And at first, people were like, oh my goodness, I can't believe she's saying that about our Catholic Church. But then after I visited with some people, I said, no, this is really important that she says that because it's true. It happened. And there's no way for us to go around that. And we learn from the mistakes that we make. So being a peacemaker is someone who's brave enough to learn from the mistakes that they've made.
And to be willing to say, maybe I didn't get that right. Maybe I need to change. And that takes a lot of vulnerability, just like St. Francis. I think that's a great example.
Yeah, that's awesome. So thanks for joining us this morning on Coffee with the Callers. And as you think about your families and your coworkers and your friends, think about some of these things about peacemaking. That peacemaking is really about being brave, about being sincere, and about telling the truth. Glad you joined us this morning. Have a great week, and we'll see you on Sunday.